Well guys, it finally happened. We got to see some raw Halo Infinite multiplayer gameplay. And now after seeing that, after seeing a couple minutes of a multiplayer match from Halo Infinite, we have a much better idea as to how this game plays. Yesterday, Wednesday, 343, they had a live stream where they basically walked through the first Halo Infinite technical preview. They showed us what's going to be in this technical preview. They showed us some gameplay, ran through some of the customization, some of the settings, and ultimately that stream was a preview of the Halo Infinite technical preview. And I enjoyed what we seen in that stream a whole hell of a lot more than what we got with E3 and the multiplayer overview video we got the day after E3, because like I've been saying, with the showing at E3 and the multiplayer overview video, the gameplay that was shown in that was all chopped up, kind of cinematic, and we didn't have that raw gameplay, so we couldn't really get a feel for how this game plays, and it just left people with a lot of questions that could have easily been answered if we just got to see some raw gameplay like we did yesterday. Now, for those of you who don't know, the first Halo Infinite technical preview is taking place starting today sometime. As I'm recording this, we don't have the time that it's going to start today, but we do know that the technical preview will start today and it's going to end on August 2nd. Invitations have already been sent out, and I believe they are finished sending them out. I was lucky enough to get an invite. I don't know if I've been invited to the PC technical preview or the Xbox one, so fingers crossed I get into the PC. But you know, there's some people who just didn't receive an invitation. So if it does turn out that I got into the Xbox tech preview for Halo Infinite, I guess that's not such a bad thing, because I could have just not received an invite and that would have sucked. Now, although a decent amount of multiplayer gameplay footage was shown for Halo Infinite during the stream yesterday, I'm not going to do a full analysis of that footage in this video here, because later today, the Halo Infinite technical preview starts. So we're going to have a lot more footage to look at. I'm going to be able to play the game. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till I've had some time with the tech preview, played a few matches, watched some more footage, and then we'll talk about gameplay related things more in depth. But you know, if I just take the footage that was shown from the stream yesterday and I tried to analyze that, well, there's certain things within that footage that weren't 100% clear, and I'd have to sit here and speculate about it. But like, if I just wait till later today and I actually get my hands on the flight, then a lot of these questions will be answered, hopefully. So again, just to reiterate, this video here is not a full analysis of the multiplayer gameplay that was shown for Halo Infinite yesterday. I plan on doing an analysis type video of Halo Infinite's multiplayer, but again, I'm just gonna wait till we actually get our hands on the Halo Infinite tech preview. But one thing I will say, and this is something I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, and maybe that's just because it isn't what it seems, and maybe others just don't think it's a real big deal, but I just wanted to mention it. From the footage that was shown during the stream, I didn't see a lot of precision weapons in play. It was a lot of automatics, or burst fire weapons like the pulse carbine, the commando, which I guess you can kind of use it as a precision weapon to an extent. I think it does headshot damage. I'm not entirely sure if the assault rifle does headshot damage like it did in Halo 5. But none of those weapons, like the assault rifle, the commando, the pulse carbine, the sidekick, none of those seem to have the same precision feeling you get when you use a battle rifle or a DMR, a light rifle, a needle rifle, the regular single shot carbine. In the gameplay that was shown, it seemed like a lot of non-precision gameplay. I mean, we barely saw the BR, and they made it clear in that stream that these are the more casual settings. These aren't geared towards competitive play. But when I think back to the other Halo games, even in the casual settings, it wasn't that much of a challenge to get my hands on a precision weapon and use that precision weapon or precision weapons for a good portion of that match. There's plenty of times where I'm playing casual settings in Halo and I can play damn near the entire match with a BR or a DMR in my hands. But from what we've seen in the little bit of footage, well, I say a little bit of footage that we got in the stream yesterday, but I mean, I guess it wasn't a little bit, because all things considered, that was actually a decent amount of footage we got of Halo Infinite's multiplayer. But after the tech preview this weekend, that's not gonna be considered much footage at all, because we're gonna have a lot more footage to look at. But anyways, the footage that we saw during that stream of Halo Infinite's multiplayer, it didn't look like precision weapons were as prominent in the casual settings as they were in the other Halo games. And I think that's probably because 343, they want to get away with having this one weapon that works in all cases. A lot of people say that when referring to some of the precision weapons in the other Halo games, like the BR or the DMR. And I've never agreed with that, because there are situations where having a precision weapon like the DMR, the BR, the needle rifle, the carbine is not your best option. If you turn a corner with a battle rifle equipped and there's a guy right in front of you in melee range with a shotgun, then that shotgun player probably has the advantage. There's times where picking up a single plasma rifle is worth it, because the plasma rifle can quickly drain a player's shields and then you can finish it up with a melee. And there are situations in Halo's gameplay where that would yield the faster kill than to shoot somebody 4 times with a battle rifle, or 5 times depending on what Halo game you're playing. So Halo never had that one weapon that works in every single case. I mean, that's an exaggeration. But it's no denying that the precision weapons in Halo were always very dominant, and you could get away with using these weapons in a lot of different scenarios. And at medium to longer ranges, you can't really fight back with a lot of the weapons in Halo. Like if you're fighting a player who has a precision weapon at medium to long range, then using something like an SMG or a plasma rifle or assault rifle or spiker, it's probably not going to work out too well for you. But that doesn't mean all those weapons are useless. There are situations where having a plasma rifle could put you in a better situation than if you had a battle rifle or any other kind of precision weapon. So that's just something I wanted to point out. The gameplay that we saw during that stream, it didn't seem like precision weapons were as prominent as they are in other Halo games. And that could have just been the little bit of gameplay that we saw. I don't know. I just wanted to speak on that a little bit. And maybe I'll actually end up liking that. I mean, if I think back to my time playing the other Halo games, there are times where I will be using a battle rifle or a DMR or another precision weapon a lot, and I'll be thinking to myself, like, I really want to use this other gun, but it's not as good, and I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I pick up that other gun, because I have a battle rifle or a DMR right now. Like, this is the weapon to use in these situations. It's better to use this weapon right now, but I want to use another weapon. And all we just felt weird, opting to use that other weapon. That kind of puts me at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? I kind of did like playing certain maps where it wasn't as easy to get my hands on a battle rifle or a DMR or a needle rifle, and I did have to use some of these other weapons. So I don't know, maybe it's not a bad thing that precision weapons might be taking a little bit of a backseat here for the casual settings in Halo Infinite, but again, we don't know. We'll have a better idea what's going on with this technical preview later today and this whole weekend. But I'll also say, I don't think every weapon needs to get equal use. I think it is okay to have that one weapon that people use in most cases, but there are reasons to use the other weapons as well. Maybe they don't get as much use, and maybe their overall effectiveness is not as good as some of the precision weapons, but I think that's fine. As long as you don't have one weapon that is easy to acquire and dominates in every scenario, then I don't see a huge problem. Again, it's okay to have some weapons that are better than others, and it's okay to have a weapon that most people gravitate towards. But as long as it's not a works in every situation type of gun, and as long as other weapons in the game serve a purpose and they have their own role, then I don't see a problem. But anyways, that's enough on that. Just wanted to share my thoughts there. Again, we didn't see much battle rifle use in the footage we saw, and I hope we do see more use of precision weapons, even in the casual settings for Halo Infinite. I'm not saying the casual settings need to be geared towards competitive, no, because they're the casual settings. But I don't think putting more precision weapons on the map or spawning players in to the match with a precision weapon, I don't think that makes it competitive. No, they can still be casual settings. I just hope with the casual settings in Halo Infinite, you have some game types where you spawn in with your assault rifle and sidekick, and then other game modes where players spawn in with a battle rifle and assault rifle. Another gameplay related thing we saw in the footage yesterday was weapon pads. We knew weapon pads were going to be in Halo Infinite, they were in Halo 5, and I didn't know exactly how they were going to work in Halo Infinite, and I gotta say I'm a little disappointed that there is a waypoint displayed above the weapon pads in Infinite, and it tells players which item is spawning there, and it also has like a timer counting down to when that item is going to spawn. It even tells you the distance you are away from the weapon pad. Now, I'm not entirely sure if it just displays that information when a teammate pings the weapon pad, or does it display that information for everybody in the game when that item is about to respawn on that weapon pad? I don't know. But either way, I'm not a huge fan of it, and I was hoping that weapons and other items on the map would be implemented in a similar way as the classic Halo games, where it's there on the map, there's no waypoint above the item, there's no countdown letting players know when it respawns, it doesn't display what item is spawning in that location. I think in Halo 5, the announcer even mentioned, sniper up in 10 or something like that. It even calls it out to you. Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of any of that. I think keeping track of spawn times and knowing spawn locations of different items on the map, I think you should leave that up to the player. I don't like the game holding your hand and freely giving this information to the player. But with that being said, this might not even be a thing in the competitive settings for Halo Infinite. Shit, for all I know, the abilities, sprint, slide, and clamber, they might not even be a thing in the competitive settings for Halo Infinite. And the reason I even mention that is because lead sandbox designer Quinn Del Hoyo, he tweeted out saying grenade hit markers will only be available in social and unranked experiences for Halo Infinite. They will be turned off for competitive play. And that really surprised me. I thought grenade hit markers, which I guess if you didn't know, now you know, they are a thing in Halo Infinite, but I thought they would either be a thing or they wouldn't. I did not think that they'd have grenade hit markers on for casual play and off for competitive play. So a lot of the things we're seeing in that stream and things we will be seeing in the technical preview, some of those things might be disabled in competitive play. We don't know. Now, I'm not a huge fan of grenade hit markers, and just because certain things are going to be turned off in competitive play, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be happy about these things being in casual play. Because usually the more casual settings make up the majority of the game. When they say competitive play, I don't know if that just means the main competitive settings that people are going to use when they compete, or do they mean like all ranked playlists? They'll have the grenade hit markers turned off. I don't know exactly what that means. I assume it's just the main competitive settings that people play at tournaments. I assume those are the settings where the hit markers will be turned off. But I don't know for sure. And if I haven't mentioned it already, I'll take the time to say now that overall with what we saw on the stream yesterday, I'm pretty happy with what we saw. Of course, there are some things that I don't like. I'm skeptical of, but overall, I'm kind of happy with what we saw. I think it looks leaps and bounds better than Halo 5. Much, much, much better than Halo 5. And I say that based off of the footage that we saw yesterday. All this is subject to change. They did mention in that stream that assassination animations will not be in Halo Infinite at launch. And that was really interesting to me. I definitely did not see that coming. And that is a weird thing in my mind to not be there at launch. And it leads me to wonder, well, what other things are not going to be there at launch? If I'm being honest, I'm not that upset about assassination animations not being there at launch. I never used them a ton. I mean, I used them sometimes. There were some times in multiplayer where I wanted to do the longer animation when I assassinate people, and in campaign it was cool to do at times. I never turned the assassination animations off in any of the Halo games. I'd always keep them on, but usually when I was playing I would opt for the quicker traditional melee option, just the simple backsmack. But there are people that do like the longer drawn out assassination animations, and like I said, for campaign it can be a lot of fun to use. So those are definitely, it's not something I wanted to see go. I definitely think they were cool and I'd like them to be in the game, but I'm not too upset by this. But again, it makes me wonder, like, what other things are not going to be here at launch? But although assassinations are something that could be looked at as a more trivial aspect of the game, I definitely thought they were here to stay. I don't know how many people were calling for the removal of them. Actually, I don't think many people were at all, because in Halo 5, and I believe Halo 4 as well, we had an option to turn them off. So they really weren't doing a whole lot of harm. When it comes to the assassinations, I think you had the people that liked the assassination animations, and then the people that were indifferent about it. They didn't really care. I don't think you had a whole lot of people that hated them, especially not in 4 and 5 when you could turn them off. And as I'm recording this, Unyshek just tweeted out, lots of questions about the Halo Infinite tech preview. You can stream and make content. It will drop later tomorrow afternoon. Get some sleep. Tomorrow as in today. So we still don't have an exact time, but we do know now that later this afternoon is when we will get our hands on the tech preview. Well, those of us who were invited. I'm almost certain I will not be able to stream it as soon as it goes live, but I'm pretty sure I will be streaming it at some point later this evening. And a couple more things I want to run through before I close out this video is, in the stream from yesterday, they did run through some of the settings, and within the settings there was something for mouse magnetism. There was an option to enable or disable mouse magnetism. So does that mean aim assist for mouse? So is that how you combat people using a Zim? You just have it built into the game so they don't need the Zim? I don't know. That's an interesting one. And I mean, surely it can't mean what it sounds like. Surely it can't mean aim assist for mouse. I mean, that's crazy. Also within the settings, they showed off that players will now have the ability to just straight up drop a weapon. In previous Halo games, if you wanted to give a weapon to a teammate, you'd have to find another weapon on the ground to swap it with. In Halo Infinite, you can straight up just drop that weapon on the ground. You don't have to find another weapon to swap it. And so that is something I am excited about. I do really like that, and it's actually something I've thought about a while back. So it's pretty cool that's going to be a feature in Halo Infinite. A few more things that they showed off in the settings. With the keybinds, we're going to have triple keybinds for Halo Infinite. That's really cool. It was also revealed through the settings that it appears thrust is going to be in the game, but it seems like it's going to be in the game as a form of equipment. And that's something I'm not totally against. I'd like to see how it plays. And I mean, that's something I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, putting things like thrust on the map as a pickup. And that is something I'm really glad they are going that route, bringing equipment back and putting these things on the map as pieces of equipment players have to fight over, like the thrust ability. Now, we've seen a handful of different pieces of equipment. We see the drop wall, the repulsor, I believe it's called, that deflects certain things, so you can also boost yourself up with it. We know about thrust. You also got the grapple hook. And then, of course, you also have the camo and the overshield power-ups that are now considered equipment And I hope there is more equipment items than that. And you know, it kind of seems like the camo and the overshield power up are just kind of thrown in there just to fill those 2 extra slots for equipment items. And I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case. I did mention this in a video. I said something along the lines of hoping the camo and the overshield power up weren't just being lumped into this this equipment category just so they could fill these 2 extra equipment slots. Now, I want the equipment to be separate than the power-ups, and I want there to be a good variety of different pieces of equipment in the game. And from what we've seen so far, the grapple hook, the repulsor, the drop wall, and possibly a thrust equipment, I mean, that's only 4, and I could be forgetting some. And I was definitely hoping for more equipment items than just them. So that was 4 by my count. I could be forgetting some. It's 6 if you want to count camo and overshield, which are technically equipment in this game. But like I said, I don't really look at those as equipment. You know, those are power-ups. Those were separate than equipment in the one other Halo game that had equipment, Halo 3. Well, at least when it comes to the multiplayer. I know Halo 3 had a camo and an invincibility equipment in the campaign, but that was something different. Another thing that was showed off in the settings is you're going to have the ability to adjust your sensitivity speed for a multitude of different ranges. And you know, I guess the more options the better, right? But I'm not going to lie, sometimes I like it when the settings in games are more simplistic and there's not a lot of options, so I don't have to sit there fucking with different things. Like in the classic Halo games, for your sensitivity, you just picked a single number, 1 through 10, and that was it. But that's just more of a personal thing. The more options, the better, for the most part. I'm not going to sit here and complain that they're giving us too many options to tweak Halo Infinite the way we want. Nah, at the end of the day, I do like having more control over my sensitivity and other aspects of the game. But sometimes it can seem a little overwhelming with all these different options in your face. And the last thing I wanted to mention that they showed off in the settings is different outline colors. So as many of you know, they're doing away with red versus blue in Halo Infinite, and that's kind of being replaced with these outlines. You have outlines for your teammates and a different color outline for the enemies, and within the Halo Infinite settings you can actually change the color of these outlines for your teammates, for the enemy, and for your fire team. And you can also choose if you want a service tag or the gamer tag of your teammates to be displayed above your teammate's head in game, and that's something very reminiscent of what we've seen in other Halo games, where your teammates will have a service tag above their head or their emblem will be displayed above their head in game. And that helps you identify who your teammates are and which teammate is who. And with a service tag or a gamer tag being displayed above your teammates' heads, you don't necessarily need the outlines to help you differentiate friend from foe. If your teammates have a service tag above their head, I mean, that makes it pretty clear who your teammates are. So I wonder if there will be a way to disable the outlines, because I know some people just aren't a fan of them visually. I don't think anybody would really want to disable outlines, because that's really just putting you at a disadvantage. I mean, the outlines help those enemy players stand out more, so I don't know if there will be an option to disable outlines, but I also don't know if many people would. Also, in the technical preview stream, they showed off some things with the battle pass and customization for Halo Infinite. I don't want to talk too much on that because this video is already too long as it is. They showed some weapon drills in the Academy, and I've expressed this in previous videos, but I am just so not interested in the Academy at all. Like, at all. Like, it just, to me, the Academy, it just sounds like a tutorial. How many people enjoy tutorials in games? Not many. And ultimately, the Academy just sounds like something for new players. I don't see veteran players getting much enjoyment out of the Academy. Unless, like I've said in previous videos, the shooting range is kind of cool, and people might want to do the practice at the shooting range and just see how fast they can get their time killing all the different bots. Maybe there's a course you run through, like some of y'all remember from the Modern Warfare games. There's like a little training course you can run through, and you can keep doing it over and over and over again, trying to perfect your time and see how quick you can run through it. And you know, things like that are cool, but ultimately I don't think I'm going to spend much time in the Academy, and I'm just really not too interested in it. I don't even know if I'll probably hop into it once during the technical preview, and that's it. Or, you know, I shouldn't say that. I might actually do all the weapon drills, but again, not too interested by the Academy. Last few things I want to mention about gameplay, and again, like, this isn't a full analysis of Halo Infinite's gameplay, but there are just a few more things I wanted to mention. The HUD, I'm not a huge fan of the score being at the bottom middle of the screen. I just don't like it as much as I did the old way, where it's in the bottom right corner. There's nothing in the top left or top right of the screen from the gameplay that we saw, so something could definitely go up there and make room for the score in the bottom right, or the score could just go up in one of the top corners. I also don't like this sort of tint on the screen when your shields recharge. I think the shield recharge sound and the bar of your shields recharging at the top of the screen is enough to let a player know their shields have recharged. I don't like that there's this tint all over the screen when that happens. And also, I did notice that when a player is not visible on your screen, you do have these little arrows on the side of your screen pointing in the direction of your teammates. We've seen this in classic Halo games, but these arrows are much smaller. And sometimes there will be a little waypoint next to this arrow that will turn yellow. And that either turns yellow, I believe that either turns yellow when your teammates are shooting or when they're getting shot at, or possibly both. Whereas in classic Halo games, I know Halo Reach and I know Halo 3, those little waypoints on the side of the screen for your teammates, they would turn yellow if your teammate was shooting, and they would turn red or orange if your teammate was taking damage. So that is just a small detail, but I would like to see it how it was in the older Halo games, where it was yellow if your teammates were shooting, and it was like an orange or a red if your teammates were taking damage. Because there are times when I'm playing Halo and I will react differently depending on whether or not my teammate is shooting at someone or my teammate is taking damage. And if my teammate doesn't have a mic and isn't calling out, there are times where I will definitely use those indicators on the side of the screen or above their head that turn yellow when they're shooting and turn orange when they're taking damage. I definitely use those to my advantage. But in Halo Infinite, it just appears they turn yellow, and I guess that's when they're taking damage or when they're shooting, or both. I don't know. And after 343's stream the other day, they put out a tech preview overview on Halo Waypoint, where they basically just reiterate a lot of the things they said on stream and said in the blog from a couple days ago, as well as some new information. They showed us the days that the technical preview is going to be live, and they also showed us the scheduled play times for certain days. And again, this technical preview starts sometime today. Uni said later this afternoon. We still don't have the exact time. And it's going to end Monday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. Pacific time. In the invitation for this tech preview, it said the dates were July 29th to August 1st, but it's nice to see that this is going to go into Monday, August 2nd a little bit. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. This is a much longer video than it needed to be. This really should have just been a quick video, and the longer video should have been after we get the tech preview later today, because I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say about the game after I actually play it and see some more footage. But anyways, guys, this video is long enough. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys are thinking so far about Halo Infinite's gameplay based off of the footage we saw during the stream yesterday, or based off of the footage you're seeing in this technical preview that starts later on today. I, for one, am pretty happy with what we saw. Again, things I dislike. And I'm just going into this wanting a Halo game that is better than 4 and 5. I want a new Halo game that is bearable. That doesn't mean I'm going to start praising aspects of the game that I was once critical of. I just want a new Halo game, a new good Halo game. that feels like Halo. And you know, Halo Infinite, it does still have some abilities that are part of the base movement, like clamber, sprint, slide, although it doesn't seem like you move very fast with the sprint at all. And I don't think that really makes sprint useless in Halo Infinite, because you have to sprint to gain the ability to slide. So it does serve a purpose. But then at the same time, if you're barely even moving, it's like, you know, why does it even gotta be in the game at all? And who knows, it might not even be in competitive. And when it comes to these abilities, I don't know if it's ever gonna get to the point where I'm like, you know, they actually nailed it this time. This iteration of sprint and clamber, slide, they actually, this is good. They finally got it. Halo is better with sprint implemented in this way. Halo is better with clamber implemented. I don't think it's ever going to get to that point. I still think Halo would be better without these abilities being part of a player's base movement mechanics. But I am confident that the abilities in Halo Infinite that are part of your base movement mechanics, I don't think they're going to hurt Halo as much as the implementation of abilities did in previous Halo games. Because like I've said, this is the Halo game with the least amount of abilities since the introduction of abilities in Halo, which was with Halo Reach. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.